Hello everyone, our Cross Inclinations here, or for that matter, Stretchy Recoil the Paralysis Demon, VTuber Yan, maybe someday. In this video, we're going to talk about our relationship with closure. Again, our relationship with closure, if you didn't hear that mouse also in the backyard. We tend to have this relationship with closure where we actually think that we have to have closure for everything or we'll have regrets otherwise. And who wants to have even little to none, not even none, but little regrets in life? Oh, living regrets is awful. Oh, but it makes us who we are either way. So, and the thing is, there's a saying that one of my friends made one time. Maybe daunting at first, but there's still truth to it anyways. It goes like this: we can't have closure to everything. We're not supposed to have closure to everything. And it's like, why would that be a good thing? Well, if it was just a reality, it'd be a little boring, but wouldn't it be better if it was just a bit of imposed of a good light, I guess you'd say? I think the truth behind what he's saying is that you don't want to just have everything make sense and everything to be better with their ending. Because if they all have an ending and no new beginning imposed, as every ending has a new beginning, if you don't know what the next thing is going to be, what's the point? It's going to just feel like it goes nowhere. And even if you don't want to have to always have a direction in life, which I can relate to that actually. I believe I can. I've always had that weird feeling of wanting both simultaneously wanting stasis and movement at the same time, being anti-results but also being stillness, whatever the hell. The thing with having closure is that you're not just looking for a means to an end or an indefinite way to do something perpetually. You're looking for a calmness that you don't know how to describe. And it also embarks the idea of adventure and all the other cool things, but even all the overkill professional things, as we can know. But you're not supposed to have closure to every single thing. Like, if you had closure to the things that you thought mattered to you, at least you're focusing on those things. Because if you're focusing on the only ones you can think of, imagine that there could be way worse things to focus on that you would have wanted, done have regret for, or have closure to. And I say this with earnest. It's like, if you really think about it, focusing on the one or several things, or even many, many things that you didn't get to finish doing, at least gets you focused on that instead of the multitudes tenfold infinitum above those other things. There's a silly example I can give about why closure may or may not be what you think it is. There's this one game, Radiant Defense, on the Windows Phone Store. I loved playing that game. It was very, very hard to play. So I needed a tutorial almost every single time I wanted to beat the game. I didn't even beat the game even once so far, like the whole game, I mean. Never beat that once, because I didn't want to fall through all the tutorials to beat the game. But I would pay like my $5 to get the upgrades, max, hopefully. And then just run with it and see how far I would get. And I would get like a little bit more than halfway through the game before stopping, lifetime. And I haven't completed it since. There's multiple ways, there's several ways I can still beat the game, a couple ways. But I just didn't want to push through with the other devices or the apps or whatever else I was going to do with it. Or, whatever time I had left to beat the game while I could. And you might say that that's a silly example of why closure is not met, but there's another saying that Digibro / Trixie, the trans person indeed, the trans anime YouTuber, talks about, where he said this in what he was, before he was HRT process, but like he or she said that during one of his Digi rants, he said, in that time, that you don't necessarily need to have the ending or completion of a project or a series or a fictional entertainment, whatever, as long as you know the general idea of what the story was about, and even some of the branches and hithertos of what it was meant to be, subsets, all the things that make it what it is, and even unique and even specific in detail, then even without the ending or even much progress towards the ending, you know what that show is, and you'll still be grateful for it. And it's not that it wouldn't have been better if it ended, or even had an untimely end that would still be good and satisfying and tear-dropping. You still know what the show's about. So before it ends, even if it doesn't ever get to end, you know what it is. And that's the same kind of concepts I would have to dare say about closure and the relationship with it, is that you don't have to have that ending. You can still make it work with what you have. There's no way you're going to be disappointed with what you ever get. You'll never be that disappointed. The last quote I'll end with is, "Time only hides what it can contemplate," which is a quote I used to use on this channel quite a bit. It basically means that you always get the answers you want from life. Life will always give you the answers you want. if not even more than that. And you have to just trust that the process will work out. There's nothing like knowing that your future will lead to things that you may not expect to at the point. That the endings will truly always have a new beginning every single time. And even beginnings lead to endings with a middle that happens up being its own thing. Just because the middle, by the way, just because the middle is the most underrated part of a process or a story, whatever structure, being will end. Just because the middle is the one thing we think the least about doesn't mean we can't live in any moment at all. But we do certainly have a hype for beginnings and endings, but especially when they meet each other on the other ends, ending to beginning. But do you want to only think about the middle as if you never knew how to process an end without actually having an ending? It doesn't have to be that way. Our relationship with closure comes down to how we have closure with ourselves, whether we have the closure we want or not. Because the closure we make for ourselves, the definition, the meaning we give to that ending, is what makes the process worthwhile.